Well, I'll always remember like my first trial, and I feel like now you're gonna coax me into like telling trial war stories. And
classic lawyer talk.
We can go.
Yeah.
So my first trial, obviously, we're talking about just misdemeanor level cases, and I think this is a good one because it's sort of emblematic of like how much just mere accusations can disrupt someone's life. I had a client who was accused of menacing his neighbor. So menacing, for those that don't know, is physical intimidation. So imagine like waving your fist at someone and threatening them, or pulling out a knife and holding it up to them, and his neighbor threatened him. So he's arrested. This is a neighbor, probably like a different floor in his building we're talking about. The first thing that happens is when he's arraigned, an order of protection is issued, so he can't be near this person, which means he's de facto evicted from his home and has to live somewhere else while the case is pending. Because it's his first arrest at age 30 and he has no record and it's just a misdemeanor, the DA makes their standard offer, which is plead to a violation, you'll walk out of here without any criminal record, there'll just be a 2-year order of protection. Most of my clients would accept that because they don't want to risk a criminal record, they don't want to risk possibility of jail time or a fine or owner's community service, and of course, a violation plea isn't going to ruin anyone's life, but that 2-year order of protection would have meant that he was excluded from his house for 2 years. This client was very adamant that he would not take that plea, and the case got sort of hot-tracked for trial. During our investigation, we learned that the complaining witness was, I want to be delicate, but mentally unwell. She was prone to make accusations against people. My investigator actually got her on a recording when my investigator called and interviewed her and recorded her. She believed in like a full-blown conspiracy theory that my client and his family were actually paying the post office, the post lady, et cetera, to steal her packages, and she really believed in this full-blown conspiracy theory. And it was just very clear this wasn't a reliable person. I brought this to the DA handling the case, and he sort of shrugged and said, "Oh well, I don't care. We have a cooperative complaining witness. We're going forward on this case." So the case went to trial, and this complaining witness. Sorry, when I say complaining witness, that's what we call alleged victim. We don't like to say victim because, like, I would say this person is not a victim. She was a person making a false accusation against my client. But
it's the purpose of the trial, find out if they were a victim.
Exactly. During my cross-examination, and I started crossing her on her fantasy, her beliefs about conspiracy theories and my client and whatnot. She actually got so angry that she got up, said, "I'm not answering his questions anymore," and stormed out of the courtroom.
Oh.
So I now get to say for the rest of my career that my first ever trial, I crossed a witness into walking off the stand.
So what happened at that point?
So it would have been a mistrial if she refused to get back on the stand because I didn't get a fair and full opportunity to cross her. But the DA got special permission to talk to her for the purpose of trying to get her back on the stand, which ordinarily isn't allowed. You're not allowed to talk to a witness in the middle of cross. So the DA and his supervisor talked to her and convinced her to get back on the stand. And then so my first question when she got back on the stand was, "Now you just had a conversation with the DA over here," and she denied it. Nope, never talked to them. Don't know who that is. And,
Unreliable.
Yeah, so it was an acquittal.
You got to sit down quick before the mistrial happens.
Yeah, come on.
So in the end, as soon as she got done testifying, we declined to call any of our witnesses. We rested, we closed, we won. Obviously, there's no way anyone could find him guilty based on this woman's testimony. And it's a great result. The client got to go back home, be back in his apartment. He still has to deal with this woman who's his neighbor now, but it ended up being a good result for him. And as I said, for most people, for 95% of my clients, they would have taken that violation plea, not risk. If we lost that trial, he'd have a criminal record the rest of his life. He could have gone to jail for up to a year. But instead, he was willing to go to trial and push the limits of the court system and was able to walk away without any record whatsoever and with the feeling of knowing that he won the trial. He won the case, and he felt very grateful for that, and that was a great start to my career.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah.
First trial, check, one.
Yeah, done. Nick has great track record with trials.
Yeah.
But I've only seen him once, and it was so cool.
What do you enjoy about being a trial attorney? Because I feel like not every attorney is necessarily made to be a trial attorney.
No, and most attorneys never set foot in a courtroom, but it's what I wanted to do. It's why I became a lawyer. I feel like I'm pretty good at standing up and arguing on my feet, and it's
Like, what thrills you? What's your, like, yes, I'm ready for this part?
I don't know. I think like back in when I was in like college and I was doing mock trial, it was thrilling. I don't know if it's thrilling so much now because there's nothing really more stressful than doing a trial. You're talking about for however long this trial is going on, you're just on constantly. If you watch a trial on TV and you see, hours of testimony and questions, if there's one bad question that the DA asks and I fail to object, that could be ineffective assistance of counsel. Just missing that one question could be me really blowing the case individually. So you're talking about a very high stressful environment of being on mentally for a very long period of time. But it is still a rush, and it's getting that when you win the case and the jury says not guilty, it's just a sort of euphoric feeling that's hard to replicate. But all of it, I like cross, I like closing, I like the oral advocacy part of the job. Unfortunately, it's not like we're not doing trials every other week, and most cases don't go to trial. But when we do, it's a really intense experience.
We were doing a trial with our favorite, Judge Kitty, and we're doing a trial with another lawyer. We're sitting here working. I think we were in this room, and we're way stressed out. And she's like, can you believe that this is, we're going to look back on this fondly someday? Which we do, of
Yeah.
course, in that
Yeah.
example.